and anything else. Remember, Community Buzz, Mondays 3 to 6 on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Under the pressures of the life and it tough. Now stay down, mama, time pick it up.
Yeah, good afternoon, Monday afternoon again. God is good, God is good, God is good. Want to welcome you as usual to Community Buzz. I'm Ed Wallace, your host here on Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Remember that this Monday afternoon, every Monday afternoon, in fact, on all our shows here at Fit FM 96.7, you can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, fitfmja.com, all the popular social media platforms. We're there. And if you're going to participate, which I really welcome you and wish that you will, if you're going to participate, then you call 876-482-4944. That's one of our numbers. And 876-317-1991. That 876-317-1991. Welcome again. This last afternoon we had two guests from the family court with us, and this afternoon we're going to have somebody from the Consumer Affairs Office here in the Western region, and actually we're going to be talking to Mrs. Suzette Greg Cummings. All right. So Mrs. Cummings will be coming in a little bit later, at about 3:30. So stand by. We're going to be talking about a whole host of things having to do with the consumer. She's going to tell us what she does, what the organization does, and we're going to have a pretty good conversation this afternoon. So please stay tuned. Birthdays. We don't really have much birthdays to contend with this afternoon. Not because people are not having birthdays, but simply because I have no birthdays listed. Anniversaries. We just continue to celebrate Fit FM anniversary as we do for all of this year, or as we will do for all of this year. And there's no other. Oh, yes, there is one notable anniversary. My friend, my friend and pastor of the Wesleyan Holiness Church in Lilliput, celebrated a wedding anniversary last week this time. So, Pastor, want to wish you and your wife a happy anniversary. Yeah, happy anniversary, and all God's richest blessing to continue on your union. So um, I just want to hold you up to God, um, and to ask God's richest blessings on you and your wife, Sister Thorpe. All right. So and that is coming from Fit FM 96.7. I also, this is not an anniversary, but I want to run a big up for Shorty the ice cream man down a Falmouth there, so. Shorty the ice cream man. I call him Mia, I call him your worship, I call him, everything. Because Shorty, anybody who know Shorty know that you can get in a this time age and time, you can get $10 ice cream. Yeah, man, $10 ice cream, and I know, I know this means so much to so many kids and so many kids who are adults right now. I just want to big up Shorty. Um, just I can't say anything else. God bless you, Shorty. God bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. Long life, health, and strength. All right. In the meantime, in terms of losses, we just have, well, we have a whole lot to contend with this week. We have no direct losses that I know about right now, personally, but we want to continue to look or to remember the loss of Mrs. Andrea Garwood at church, and to remember all those persons for the last week who were victims of crime. The victims of crime. I know I have a section in this program called In the News, where we deal with what's in the news. But it's very hard to bypass. You hear about this pastor now, Waffle Runway, because I'm involved with a 15-year-old. So I don't even know. I keep saying what, and these kinds of situation again, these kind of abuses of men against female is what really causes us to have this mislabeling of violence and calling it violence against women, ignoring that we are a very violent and just horrible society sometimes, and it's bad when any man does a thing like this, but you know how it go when a pastor or a so-called pastor does it, and we just want to sympathize with the family, sympathize with the women and girls who are victims here, and just to say that we hope that you can recover from this experience and still go on to survive in a fit and proper way. All right, I'm not gonna go into the news right now because we have other things to deal with, and so we move into the minutes. Always talk about minutes at the last meeting. So last time, what were we dealing with last time? Last time we were dealing with road and street light, as we always do, for for um for refuge and Stuart Castle. We have light and street light for, as I say, for refuge and Stuart Castle, two different communities, and we're still appealing. I don't want to use the term especially, but I'm still appealing to the authorities that if you can come through for us on even the lights at the darkest corners, we can still wait a little bit more for the roads. And so I see Councillor White starting a new road last week. I'll get to the exact road that is at later. But And somebody in refuge hollered out to him and said, "What happened to us?" And I hear Councillor White responding that there is a road coming soon for refuge. All right, we hope that that is sooner than later. We also dealt last week with COVID-19. I think we spoke a little bit about the Negril incident, the Negril partying thing there that took place, and I'll have a little bit more to say about it later on. But the one that hurts me the most was the one with the crabs. Yeah? Yeah, the man catching crabs. Yeah. Oh, by the way, let me go into Rockbridge first. Rockbridge, we never forget Rockbridge because we just want some word on Rockbridge. We're still waiting on some word on Rockbridge. We hear rumors on the ground saying it is going to reopen. We hear rumors that it is not going to be reopened. We need to know what is going to happen and what is the situation going to be going forward, whether we're talking about reopening or not opening at all. So we want. So we spoke about issues like the crab, as I said. Um, we we spoke about COVID-19. We did a little bit about the former MP in St. Anne with that situation, ongoing situation within the PNP. I think we mentioned the one in Westmoreland for a little bit, and that one is heating up again because there's new news and new developments on that one, which we will be talking about later on. So the crabman, no, can't delay it anymore. Can't delay it. I laugh at taking bad things. Indian. Yeah, Indian. So I laugh, but it's not a good laugh. And it's not a good laugh. Here it is. People bad mind all about. Here it is. That last week, this time, I was quarreling about the fact that some people coming at the newspaper or rather on Facebook and seeing the news article talking about overfishing crabs and how if this is going to happen, how crabs are going to be overfished and all of that, instead of trying to set up a situation where that would not happen, perhaps crab breeding facilities or something, you know. I even went into the idea of the marine lab going into getting the parrot population increased back up to speed in Jamaican waters and all of that, things that we could do. And, you know, I ranted how I normally would rant. Lo and behold, I went home after the show, and not 2 days later, you know, I'm saying maybe it's Greenpeace going there, go move the crab them out at night. Some environmentalists, because they left about 2 dozen. And I'm still trying to figure out why anybody except Greenpeace would go in there to take. I don't know. Did you see the amount of crabs that were in the pen? And
New crab sellers on the road.
because though you can't mark the crab, I don't want to laugh over this situation. I don't want to laugh. Though you cannot mark the crabs, my producer is asking me now a question, right? Have I noticed the amount of new crab sellers on the road? No. People can bad, so. Remember, do you know? If we make thieving, now I'm going to say stealing. If we make thieving a sport, remember that somebody going to thief us too. Remember that. And at that time, all people say, thief from thief. God laugh. Yeah? It is just evil that we should have gone in there and stole the man crabs. It is just evil. And I cannot understand why we continue to do this to each other. One man work and another man reap. Farmer plant corn, man got teeth out in corn. Farmer plant callaloo, man got teeth out in callaloo. No man go catching crab them. Man go raid them. Raid them. I got into a little tit for tat with some people on Facebook over that very term producer, breeding, because really and truly, he didn't breed them. What he did was capture them and was keeping them, rearing them. As a matter of fact, those would have been perhaps the best crabs to eat from India, because he would have fed them banana peels, mango peels, fruit peels, that sort of a thing. And they would have been specifically fed. So by the time he starts selling his crabs, they would have been flushed out and having new good food and all of that kind of thing. And it would be what, as I understand it, $3,000 per pound for crab. Yes, that came courtesy of Wayne Chen in the same article that I was talking about. Yeah, and we just decide that we will not allow each other to survive. We will not allow each other to survive. And that cannot be a very good thing. Some of the other things that we dealt with the last week, apart from COVID, we heard the minister talking about modernizing the police force. We spoke about, I think we spoke about that man who caught the woman ablaze in Hanover and caught her business ablaze, in Hanover. We talk about the Maxfield Children's Home and the protest that went on with the workers there. We talk about the homeschooling situation. And just to remind you that homeschooling is not against the law. What you need to do is to get permission from the Ministry of Education to be able to do your homeschooling. As a matter of fact, I don't know if between myself and my producer, we could get somebody from the system to tell us a little bit more about homeschooling at another point. So that's an idea that we could perhaps work on and to see, because with COVID going on now, and some of us seem to think that we're nearing the end. I don't know about that. So homeschooling will be here with us for a while. 55,000 doses of vaccine, AstraZeneca, I think it is. Or, let me not say AstraZeneca. I think it was the American vaccine that came into the country recently. The ministry announced. So we're talking about that too. So a whole lot on our plates for this afternoon, and we're going to be having full discussion or as full a discussion as possible in relation to some of these issues. But I'm going to take a break now. We're going to take a break in preparation for Mrs. Cummins from the Consumer Affairs organization here in Jamaica. Take a break. We'll be right back.
If everything in life was right, then we would never have to fight. So if we never use the brain, then only carcass would remain. If man had never used his hands, then he would never understand the joys of making this and that and winning money from the slot. Forget about stupidity. Discover your ability. Develop your creativity. Cultivate humility to brave the stormy weather. Oh, my brother, and heed my foolish words. You see, the more you give to life is the more you get from life. So go on and give. Don't count the cost. And the less you
So we're back with you. Before we go any further, I want to welcome. I have a cousin online, Long time no see Christopher Blagrove. Yeah, man. Original cousin brother, more than cousin. Um, he's the son of my aunt. He's the son of my aunt mother. So you know what I mean. My mother died when I was a year and a half old, and my aunt took on that, along with the rest of the family, took on that burden of caring for me. So when she had her own son, now that son became my brother cousins, right? So Chris, big up my cousin, big up my brother, big up. Cliffy too, if you're out there. All right. Good afternoon, Mrs. Cummings. Do we have you online?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, Mr. Wallace. How are you?
I am well. I smile when I think of you because of the pre-conversation that we had the other day. Um, Mrs.
On
Cummings,
Saturday?
yes, on Saturday, Mrs. Cummings, the Consumer Affairs officer for the region.
Right.
And you're still insisting. All right, Miss Cummings.
I heard you said the Consumer Affairs. Let me tell you, it's a Consumer Affairs Commission for the government, CAC.
Mhm.
That's our name, Consumer Affairs Commission.
All right, since you've started, please go right ahead and explain this organization to us and go into what you do and all of that.
Well, this is a government entity. We fall under the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. This is an agency of government, which we foster ethical relationships. Talk about ethical relationship, we talk about right and wrong between providers and users of goods and services, right? So when you spend your money, you should get value for your money. And so that's how the ethical relationship comes in. We then seek to resolve marketplace disputes. When you go back to the store, the vendor, wherever you're not getting your redress, you definitely call the Consumer Affairs Commission and we'll intervene for you. And then we communicate useful information to consumers and businesses alike. We handle complaints. You may call us, send us an email, write to us, which is same email about your complaint, and we will deal with it for you. We'll also offer advice, the differences. Whereas with the complaints, we'll contact the vendor, the merchant, or the other party. With the advice, we just advise you of your rights and responsibilities. We also have outreach activities, so we go all island, different sections different regions where we offer consumer education across the island. We also conduct market research. We have, and I mean market research in the sense that we have different surveys that the Consumer Affairs carries out. We have a good survey, which you'll see in the Observer or Gleaner, which tells you which supermarket carries the cheapest product. We have a hardware survey. We have a petrol survey, yes. And every July we do a textbook survey to tell you where you could shop for cheaper books and all of that. So in a nutshell, this is what the Consumer Affairs Commission does. We have a research unit as well and all of that. So this is a Consumer Affairs Commission, a government entity. We fall under the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and all of that.
What did you correct me on just now with the naming of the organization?
Consumer Affairs Commission. You left the commission off.
Oh, okay. That was the issue. All right. Then.
That's it.
So it's Consumer
CAC.
Yes, CAC, Consumer Affairs Commission. All right. So people, there you have it. So you have the Consumer Affairs Commission, which is seeming to be an organization that makes way or provides for ensuring that business ethics in terms of the consumer and the supplier exist and continues. But I want to ask,
and
ethical, right? So I want you to give me, Mrs. Cummings, I want you to give me, or give us, if you will, a couple of example cases in which the consumer affairs could come into our lives directly as a one man or one woman.
Well, for one thing, we've had a lot of we deal with the utilities as well, and I've always been trying to get people to understand that for each utility company, for example, JPS,
Mm.
NWC, Digicel, we had a Trelawney aspect of it with OUR. So I'm now going back to that. This was in, trying to remember, it was in March or April. And so, for instance, with JPS, you have the government has signed an agreement with JPS, which is a private company.
Mm-hmm.
But then consumers, residents, commercial, because you have commercial aspect and a residential aspect,
Mm-hmm.
there are guarantee standards that we must get.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, when JPS does not give you that guarantee standard, they have breached the guarantee standards. There's compensation that residents or whether residential or commercial entities should get.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the residential rate is different from the commercial rate, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, one let me just give you one example. One example of the guarantee standard. You can go on their website, you can find it too. So it's not like a secret.
Mm-hmm.
And the OUR also knows if you give me 3 consecutive estimated bills,
Mm-hmm.
that's a breach of the guarantee standards because you must not get more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that say to the residents then? Let's leave it the residents or anybody with a business. It means that your meter should be read.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be an estimated 3. So if JPS breaches that standard,
Mm-hmm.
you automatically get us $1,650 as residential customers that should be applied to your bill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. You
You
say
get me?
that.
So there's an agreement between JPS and the government.
All right.
So the guarantee standards must be met.
All right.
Okay.
So we understand the utilities, the JPS, the National Water Commission, especially
Okay.
in relation to the guarantee standards and how you deal with that. But
Right.
my recollection is that in recent times, the utilities, perhaps namely JPS, had actually found a way to justify the bypassing of the utilization of the guaranteed standards to get compensation. I don't remember what was the event, but how are they able to do that?
Bypassing it?
Yes.
How? I don't get you.
My recollection
Oh,
is that
I'm
there
not
was an
aware.
event. It was not a disaster like a storm or something like that. I don't recall what it was, but something was. It might have even been what was happening with COVID. It might have been.
That they were able to bypass the
But
guarantee
let
standards?
me no, not them by themselves, but there was an agreement to back off or to ease off the guaranteed standards. Yes, no? Am I mistaken?
No, I'm not aware, sir.
All right. Is there a case? Is there a case
hmm
where JPS, National Water Commission, or any other organization subjected to the guaranteed standards can no, not that they can, any circumstance under which those guarantee standards may be waived? I think that was a term used at the time.
I have not seen that. I have not seen that. The guarantee standards is that's JPS has signed an agreement with the government. I think it's a 15-year agreement,
Mhm.
and that the guarantee standards must be adhered to.
But for the time being,
I don't know where it has been. Pardon me?
I was going to say for the time being, let us not say JPS, let us use the utilities, because
The
it's not
utilities.
just
So I mean,
JPS, right?
well, yes, there are standards that we should get. Yes,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
and I'm not sure where the standards were.
Waived. I want to use that term.
No, I no wave. No, I don't.
Mm. All right. I
Like
did.
one thing for JFS, what one thing I can tell you, and I'm not singling out. For example, since the last year, the credit, the compensation that the consumer should get if a standard is breached was put on hold a bit because they were trying to assess consumers during this COVID time. But this was just
Okay.
2020, not.
Okay.
You understand? Not getting the standard. The standards everybody must get.
Mhm,
Standards can be waived,
mhm.
but the compensation
It's a compensation I was
was
referring
put
to.
right. The compensation was put on hold, but But right, so and in fact, I need to check with the OUR if that has now come back on stream. But the standards, we can't waive standards.
Yeah,
We
I
can't waive
understand. That is
standards. You
clear.
get me?
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, that
So
is clear. But it was in fact
so
the
the
compensation
compensation,
for
the
the breach.
1650 that
R-
residential gets
right.
and the commercial gets a higher rate, right?
All right, correct. Two other circumstances under which the consumer can come to the Consumer Affairs Commission for redress or for reparation, um, whichever the term you want to use.
If you buy a product and it doesn't work, you buy a product, you buy your phone, it doesn't work, you buy your television, it doesn't, you go back to the merchant and they're, you come to the Consumer Affairs and will intervene for you, sir. This is the entity that intervenes. We put your case on the government system and you should get value for money for what you have purchased. So you
Mhm.
can't sell a TV that you claim is new and then in not even no time it doesn't work and then that's it. Consumers come to the Consumer Affairs for their redress.
What do we call no time?
But
What is a reasonable
well,
time?
all right. Well, listen to me. A reasonable time could even a month, even a new television. You should get warranty on everything that you purchase, sir.
Mhm.
Right? And that's what I try to communicate to consumers. You should get warranty on everything that you have purchased. No, there are two rules of thumb that I always try as simple as possible to tell consumers. So for instance, if you buy a product and it's defective, sir, you should get warranty. If the product is good, right? With
Mhm.
me, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
The product is good, the merchant, the store owner will not have no problem in giving you enough warranty.
Mhm.
So when you see you're getting a small warranty period, that
Oh,
red flag should go up that something is wrong with this product. This merchant not giving enough time because this product is not good and he's not willing to stand
oh, that's a
behind the product.
point. That's a point to note.
Right there, right there. So
Yes,
when you
we
go buy
are.
you go buy a phone as simple as it is for $20,000, a smartphone,
Mhm.
and this merchant says, "I give you 5 days."
Mhm.
It means after 5 days, you have to decide, do I want to spend again on this product? Because
Okay.
after 5 days, that's it. It something will go wrong.
So Jamaica people, wanna hear that? Mrs. Cummins just gave us a very wise tip. If you see a supplier giving you a very short warranty period,
He's
perhaps
not
anything
standing behind
below
his product.
perhaps anything below a month, it is a buyer beware kind of a situation that you need to determine whether or not you want to buy that product, because likely it is not in good standing. Of course, I'm sure that it depends on the product, Mrs. Cummings.
So I was going to get that. So that's one rule of thumb. But the next rule of thumb, Mr. Wallace, is that dependent on what you're buying and how much you are spending, you negotiate your warranty. Consumers don't know that in Jamaica. We try to tell them your warranty is negotiable.
We can call that news flash. We can call that one breaking
No, it
news.
shouldn't be because I've been in the entire Western Jamaica trying to tell people what your warranty is negotiable.
You know, I don't mean
And
to be
if
bad.
you buy a product, and you get no warranty when you come to the Consumer Affairs, you want to make sure you get at least 6 months warranty.
Okay. Okay. So you first heard it on Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. Your It is true.
I'm laughing too. I'm
your,
laughing too.
your warranty can
Yes.
be negotiated. You know, your warranty can be negotiated. And when you see short-term warranty, you might want to
That red flag
send up
should go up
your
to say
antenna. Right.
something is wrong. After the warranty is up, you may have to spend again. You will have to spend again, not me.
Will-
But after the warranty is up, the product will probably stop working, and then you must decide, should I spend again on this product? So
Will you laugh?
right there, you say, you know what? I don't get enough warranty. I want more.
Will you laugh at me, Mrs. Cummins?
No,
Laugh
sir.
again and laugh at me, because I've been victim of that situation at least twice before.
Really?
Yeah. Don't laugh now.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. All right. So you have short-term warranty, you have negotiated warranty. Anything else there before you give me the example? how we go.
And I want, especially even Trelawney and the Western, not the Western, but overall, because I deal mostly with the Western part. But I want us to get to the point now. Whatever you buy, you must get your receipt. Your
Mhm.
receipt is your evidence or your proof. And if a merchant or a store owner wants the receipt, they can take a copy, but the original belongs to you. You
Yes.
know, you must get your receipt. It's your
Yes.
evidence. Because when we take this matters to the small claims court, Mr. Wallace, the judge wants to see the receipt.
Okay.
And a proper one at that. I don't mean a machine taping, a proper receipt with the name and address of the vendor, contact information, and exactly what you have purchased.
All right. So that
One pair of, you know,
so there's a standard for the receipts that you've just now
yes.
outlined to us.
So you can't have a receipt that doesn't have the store name on it. That's not a receipt.
Right. Store name and
Address,
address,
contact information, and exactly what you have purchased.
and you said contact information.
Yeah, of course, you must have some form of contact information. Well, normally you used to have landline. Most people have cell phones now. So a number, a telephone number I can contact to say right away that this product is defective or who knows.
And you said description
Yeah.
of the item.
Exactly. One pair of black shoes, one black bag, one, not a department one, department two, that most people wants to see to have on their receipt exactly what you have purchased.
It's teacher teaching now, because I'm going to do a summary of this after you're done.
Well,
So-
I'm available now, sir. I do consumer education for the West, so
Okay.
I'll give you the information as per the law.
Okay. So now, what other scenarios? So you have the purchase from the supplier, and we have all these things to look for. What other thing that comes up as conflict that you would perhaps assist the consumer with?
All right, let me see what else. We talk about warranty.
Before we run, in terms of perishables, are there any standard with respect to perishables?
Perishables must have expiry dates, and wherever you go into the supermarket and you see expired goods, most people will call us, but it's with the Bureau of Standards who will come and seize those products. Perishables must have expiry dates, sir.
So when we go bend down and see the place pack up with one whole heap of
Bend down,
Pepsi
you mean bend down market, sir, and nobody market where
Falmouth.
nobody not give no receipt,
Yes.
sir.
And-
No, sir. You see, when you go bend down, I'm sorry, I've been there before. When you go bend down, they're not giving you no receipt, so they're not even connecting you with their themselves with their products, right? So you're taking a risk.
so-
You're
so-
not getting no evidence. So you better just give them the money and take the product. You check it right there if it's torn or damaged or whatever. But that's it, right?
and the whole heap of
So you
Pepsi,
take a
them,
risk right
Pepsi
there.
and juices and all those kind of things that are the tin juices and and some
No, but the
plastic
tin
things too.
juices would have the printed would still have though it's bend down, the tin juice would have the printed expiry dates on them, right?
All right.
Should.
All right. So
Don't buy those stuff. You remember when you put whatever you're putting into your body, you must make sure you check your body is valuable. Don't not, and when something seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
it usually
The price,
is. It
eh?
usually is. It usually is.
Yes, so
Right.
it usually is. So
So let
yeah.
us now move to some of the kind of conflicts that we have dealing with when it comes to unusual conflicts, but because the ones that we've dealt with so far are pretty straightforward. You get bad goods for buy, you bring it back on warranty, you negotiate. What other kind of conflicts that we wouldn't nearly believe that you
I
would
know you
deal
say
with first?
conflicts. I know you say conflict, but there's something I want to bring out, which is still in line with the Consumer Protection Act, the CPA.
Mhm.
Remember too, right? We talk about the letter R in the alphabet, right?
Mhm.
When a product is defective, sir, we have a 3R process, right?
Mhm.
3R. So if the product is defective, the first option available to the consumer is that the merchant, the store owner, must be given the opportunity to repair. That's the
All right.
first R, repair the item.
Mhm.
If the item cannot be repaired, then we go for a replacement. That's a
Okay.
second R. If it can't be replaced, repair nor replace, then we go for a refund. So
Mm.
consumers are allowed to get their refund as per the law. And I just wanted to say, Mr. Wallace, from April 2020, last year, to March 2021, the Consumer Affairs Commission has gotten approximately $21 million refunded for consumers all island Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So they could put all what they want to put in their store. No exchange, no refund. No exchange, refund. It's against the Jamaican law. You ask, why are stores doing that?
Breaking
You know,
news.
Jamaica, it takes nothing to,
Breaking
it takes
news.
nothing it takes nothing to form a trend. But what I can tell you, if you're entitled to your refund, you will get it
All
as
right.
long as the Consumer Affairs Commission is involved.
So breaking news. There's no way possible
The
that your
Jamaican
rights can
law
be
allows
breached.
you to get, yeah,
Can be
yeah.
breached with a no replacement, no refund policy.
No refund, no exchange. The Jamaican government, the Jamaican law allows you to get a refund,
So can we
but we
say
have to go through this step.
that the no refund no exchange policy is illegal?
It's illegal. But I have that. I tell consumers it's illegal. It is illegal, sir. They make illegal signs such as no exchange, no refund. It is illegal, sir.
So what do you do when you go into stores and see that sign, Mrs. Cummins? What does the Consumer Affairs
I
Commission
I
do?
I don't go into stores just like that. If I'm shopping, that's different. But when I have a complaint, which is no, they're telling the consumer they can't get their refund. We go in there. Even when I see the sign and I stand up underneath it, I go in there and I say that this is where the consumer must be refunded. It
Mm-hmm.
can't be repaired, it can't be replaced. So the consumer must get back in the money. And don't tell the consumer they can take a credit note,
Mm-hmm. So
right?
what?
Because the consumer wanted something for a particular purpose, and you have sold them a
Okay.
defective product. So the consumer must get back their money.
Mm-hmm. So
They didn't breach anything.
the whole business of taking something else for it is also illegal.
No, 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 no. You
Mm.
wanted a pair of black shoes, you sold it, and I'm
Mm.
just saying a shoe. You sold something, yes, you sold something defective. You have no other size that can fit the consumer. Don't tell the consumer to take a blouse or
Mhm.
something else. The consumer is entitled to a refund because you can't replace what?
Yeah. If they
And your
want to
product was
buy, if
defective.
they want a blouse, they can now take their money and go buy their blouses somewhere else.
Right. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they want. A blouse cannot serve the purpose for a shoe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and vice versa.
All right. So there you have it again, listeners. Repair, replace, refund. It is your right. And the idea of a
Yes.
credit note is only to the extent that you will take a credit note, not anything else. All right. Sometimes you say, Mrs. Cummins, we have a tendency,
Mhm.
Jamaicans especially, we're proud people and we feel that we mustn't pick a fight over $500 or even $1,000. Too little for us to pick a fight over. Um, it,
That's how Trelawney residents feel.
no, no, you
Mr.
see,
Wallace, that's how
you,
Trelawney residents feel.
you see, when you live in Wakesfield and the store is in Falmouth, $1,000 sometimes is kind of just. Should I go back to
Oh, I see
Falmouth
what you
for
mean. The
yeah,
distance.
yeah? Should I go
Right.
back for $1,000? You know. So my producer is saying that she's going back for it. It makes I don't matter of principle.
Of course, it depends on you, and sometimes it's not even the amount; it's the principle too.
Okay, man.
Yeah. So yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
All right. So we were talking about some of the issues now that we wouldn't even think we could bring to the consumer affairs, but really and truly, it is what should I say? I don't want to use prosecutor, but it is you do give representation for those issues. Can you tell us some of those?
Definitely, 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 definitely. We do. As I said, whatever you buy, you should get value for your money.
Mhm.
And so when you're not getting value for your money, it's like I remember a man purchased a used car engine and it never worked.
Mhm.
Never worked. And then the merchant said, but what you expect is used. I said, but if it's used, it's used, but he must get value. He's not giving away $100,000. He's supposed to get value from it.
But
So it's either you give him an engine that functions at least, than and or else refund the consumer. He didn't have it, so he refunded the consumer.
as you say that, um, I think I recall a period when the government introduced a period of warranty for second-hand motor vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that policy still stands, but
Government introduced. We have a used car policy. Came into effect 2014,
mhm,
right? And the policy is it's a policy that I have to be talking to used car dealers about. I have sent it to a couple because the policy is there, dependent on the odometer or speedometer, the mileage there.
mhm,
Your car automatically falls in a different category. You have a type A, you have a type B, and each category tells you the warranty that you should get. So many used car dealers, oh, we don't know about it. There is a policy out there that's for a motor vehicle used car policy
okay, okay.
that
So
came out in 2014. So gone are the days when you buy your $3 million car, your $1.5 million car, and they want to give you 30 days or 3 months.
okay, I distinctly remember that policy being formulated and been brought into effect.
I can always send. I have an electronic copy. I'm willing to send so that people can know what the policy is,
Mhm,
because you can adhere to something that you don't know about.
mhm, mhm. Um, I'm gonna, well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna come to outreach in a minute, but let me ask you this one. There is another kind of policy, but not policy, practice that says this thing is for sale as as is where is kind of a
As is
thing.
where is.
Yeah. Could you
Yes,
speak
I
to a
have seen
situation like
that.
that?
You mean with regards to like a car? That's a sad thing when someone, well, when you have those used cars and because you the consumer went and signed as is where is and giving away your rights. I
Mhm,
tell consumers they don't you as is where is unless you decide to just give away your money. But because you have signed a contract or the agreement, it becomes binding.
okay.
So I tell consumers to stay away from as is where is
Mhm.
agreements.
But
Don't
as you
do
said
that.
that, do you know? As you said that,
Pardon
um,
me?
as you say that, I'm saying that under there's a law, particularly in trade unionism, where you cannot sell your rights. You cannot once your right is
I
there.
agree, and I know of that. So that's why, let's put it this way: when you have signed something like as is where is, you have to look at the individual case, individual matter to
Okay.
look at to see, because for instance, you can tell if I can determine and by proof with evidence that this let's for instance, let me just an example, like this transmission was bad in no time or was bad even before I
Mhm,
got it, you know or something, you can prove. So if there's this big defect, but at the same time, most times I've seen where the merchant will want to work something out. But I tell consumers to still stay away from as is, because that says,
mhm,
as is where is saying you have no form of redress to get, or it becomes harder
mhm,
when you signing away your rights. It's the same thing with these other contracts. You have these same day loan place, payday
mhm,
loan places
mhm,
that gives you, these are the, you see, good thing now the Microcredit Act has come in, and so you have these entities who must now be a part of the microcredit organization, right? This was just recently.
mhm,
But then you have the same day payday loan who have some unfair contracts,
mhm,
right? You have contract that says you give the merchant the right to kick down and break down your door, break down your windows. If I go, for instance, let me give you an exact case that I had to deal with. The lady borrowed $40,000, and sign. I mean, by the time these merchants see you come to their places, they know so you're desperate, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
tell consumers that. So she got sick and was hospitalized and couldn't pay the money.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that when she came, the only way she knew what has happened was that she found her contract on the door on the floor of her house because her door was kicked down and the item seized.
Mm-hmm. So that's
Right? Yes,
predatory loan policies.
real as ever.
Predatory loan
Pardon me?
policies. Predatory loan policies.
Right, and I mean, why would I sign a contract? Because the print is fine. I tell the consumers if the print is too fine, you can get a magnifying glass for $200.
But
I'm serious.
you did say
And
desperation.
yeah, but either way, too, desperation, yes, but you must still read the fine print because that's when you put your signature on terms and conditions that you have not read.
Mm.
Don't
Um,
do that, no matter how desperate you are,
my
right? And if you are not sure of what is on it, ask somebody who you trust to read the terms and conditions before you sign to see if you can live up to it, to those agreements.
because the truth of the matter, not even your landlord can break down your door with how much month rent.
Yeah, but when you sign something, remember, Mr. Wallace, I tell you, I have to say this because I'm not going to stop. We're in a free market system,
Mm-hmm.
a deregulated free market system.
Mm-hmm.
The economy that Jamaica operates in is a deregulated free market system which came into effect from 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Government says no from 1992, sir, Mr. Wallace. I mean, I know you're older than you were around that from that time and before. Right? I'm not saying you're old, but
You
you
don't say it
know
already, so
from
continue, please, ma'am.
1992.
You don't say it already, so
What, sir?
please continue.
No, man, no, I'm saying I didn't say you're old, but you were around that time,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
And the government says what?
Mm.
Listen,
I
we're
am
not having
old.
any.
I am old.
Remember now, the Consumer Affairs Commission. I can only say that, sir, because I was on YouTube earlier. I see you look older, but not old. Okay, all right.
All
But
right.
Miss Mika sent me the information. So anyway, I'm saying to you
Wait,
that
wait,
government
stop,
has
Miss
said
Cummings, please. Miss Meek tell you something old, ma'am?
No.
She said no.
no sent
Okay,
me the
go ahead.
YouTube information.
I'm just lightening up. Go ahead.
No one is don't get me into trouble now. I'm working anyway. So I'm saying to you, so government says, remember the Consumer Affairs Commission was Prices Commission
Mm-hmm.
back then.
Okay.
Government says we're not gonna have the market is influenced by demand and supply. If you demand the product, they'll supply it. If you don't demand it, it won't be supplied. So you find out that you have one product, two stores selling the same product, and they're beside each other, but there are two different prices because the market has opened up. I tell people one of the easiest way you can know if our market has opened up is the Chinese and Indians that are all over Jamaica. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to the government says you decide who you want to buy from. So if one is higher than one, if you can afford the higher one, you go buy it there. If you can't, you buy the cheaper. You buy at the cheaper place.
Mm-hmm.
So you decide. It's a free market, deregulated free market system. We don't have a price control. No, there are times people call the consumer affairs and say, "Oh, this store is selling this product twice," and we'll talk to the merchant and say, "We have checked around. Yes, yours is double everybody else." And of course, they're going to tell you it's their operating cost and all kind of stories. But you don't really have a price control per se, but we still try to monitor. But the market that we're operating is a deregulated free market system from 1992.
All right. Some people
Free up the market.
you've just spoken about deregulation, free market, etc. Some people seem to have problems with I don't know how politically correct this is, but in inferior, generally brand Chinese goods inferior. Are there any
Totally.
standards? Are there any standards that would determine that certain
They
goods at
are
certain
they are
standards cannot
mhm.
come into the country?
They are Jamaica is really working assiduously on standards now. All right. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have a standards for shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have standards. I mean, there's a standard for block making.
Mm-hmm.
The block making because there were one or two accidents earlier. The block factory that
Mm-hmm.
the person opens must have a certain. You get me? How much
Mm-hmm.
cement to
I
whatever. So
recall
there's
that.
a block
I
making
recall that.
standard.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Because
And that is serious. Because can you imagine you use something inferior and your place crumble on you or
yes,
causing death and all of that.
generally they're
So we
sent for
have
destructive
standards.
testing.
Right, thank you. So we have some standards. We know. Remember, I tell consumers all the while because you have so many of us, our returning residents who think, and I'm being honest with you, who think that Jamaica cannot be compared to the US, the UK, or Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Those countries are considered developed countries, but
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica is developing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So of course people say, "Oh, look how everything Jamaica is following America." Well, we're developing.
All right.
But we have some standards, but I'm sure as time goes by, more standards will be developed. But we don't have standards for shoes, standards for But of course, if you buy a clothing and it's torn in a day,
Mm-hmm.
we can. And we can intervene. And I just want to say, Mr. Wallace, there are two aspects with the consumer affairs. There's a legal aspect, which is the Consumer Protection Act. There are
Mm-hmm.
the different acts or laws that we try to enforce. But there's a moral suasion aspect where there is not a legal aspect to it, but we can morally appeal to the merchant to say, listen, come on, and talk to them. And that is also an aspect that we use
Mm-hmm.
to a lesser extent. But if the law does not apply.
Let us look at,
Okay?
yes, I got there, and I hope the listeners understood what you were just saying, because the the argument that you just made out is that you have two approaches or two different legs of consumer affairs
No, man, we try
negotiations,
to. So
and one
you
is
must
moral.
understand our laws are not totally, doesn't cover everything. Remember, so where the law cannot be applied, we also try moral suasion, morally appeal to whomever. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, we will definitely enforce the law at all times.
Okay.
So if the law is broken or breached, we will enforce it. But
Well,
if that has not happened, then we also morally try to appeal to
okay.
the
Let me just
merchant.
say a word to my listeners. Listeners, if you want to ask a question quickly, you have the number to WhatsApp your question or to voice your question. 876 That's a calling number at this time, I think. Yes. 816-317-1991. And you're listening to Mrs. Suzette Cummins from the Consumer Affairs Commission, and she is schooling us. She's schooling us this afternoon. All right. We're gonna actually go back now to Mrs. Cummins, but we're watching your reactions, listeners, and if you have a question, please let us know. Mrs. Cummins,
Yes, sir.
I want to move to food and more so meat now.
Okay.
Recently in the Senate, um, Senator Damian Crawford came with an argument sounding very solid, sounding very legitimate concerning goat meat as opposed to sheep meat, the importation and the mix up and the pricing and all that. Um, where does the Consumer Affairs Commission come into the education that Damian Crawford put out just earlier this week or last week rather? If you
Sir,
don't know the argument,
and unfortunately, I'm a part. I watched it. I'm not sure of what exactly. Can you tell me two couple statements? Because I'm not sure
all right.
exactly what Mr.
Here's the
Crawford has
scenario.
said.
Here's the scenario. We have goat meat in Jamaica called chevron, but we all as
Right.
Jamaicans, or most of Jamaicans, we recognize goat meat as mutton. Now, true
Okay.
true mutton does come into the country via mother sheep that has been sent to slaughter because their lifespan as breeders for lambs have
Mm-hmm.
gone past. So they slaughter them, send them into to other countries, and Jamaica being one of them, as um as mutton, and then it is sold in the marketplace as mutton, with people believing that it is goat meat from foreign? Is there any kind of a
Okay. Oh,
education?
I cannot say much on that, but I can also do some research because that's not an issue I've ever had to deal with. But what I know as a Jamaican, that people say, oh, is the goat is not local goat, is American goat. I've heard that,
Right.
but people people will prefer our local ram goat, from our
Definitely.
local goat. Than that's what I've heard. But in terms of how the importation, who brings it in, and all of that is and I mean, is it being if it's being purported as local goat when it's not really local goat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really getting what you're asking for buying. That's a different thing. But I would have to do some research
And
to find out about that and even check my research
I mean,
unit.
people
I've never. Mhm.
people actually cuss Jamaican farmers as to why goat meat, so Jamaican goat meat is so expensive, between seven hundred
Mhm.
and $1,400
And they
per
get a
pound.
foreign goat cheaper, right?
Yes, indeed. There's a scenario like that with chicken
Wow.
meat too, but that's another kettle of fish all by itself, because it's two chicken meat
I
and
could do some checks, sir. I could do some checks and find out and even speak. Have you spoken to Rada? Rada will more be able to tell you about that sort of,
that's an idea.
agricultural nature of
That's
meat.
that's
Yeah,
an idea.
Rada should be able to give you more concrete information.
Hmm.
The agricultural aspect is for is under their organization. So
All right. So we go to price.
we most of these will deal the consumer affairs deal with goods and services.
Yes. Okay. And
Yes.
that is understood. Even though you're going to get an opportunity to summarize at some point in time and say that again. But let us go to the issue of price gouging. What can you tell us about price gouging?
What can well for one thing with if there was price gouging, especially since COVID, the minister was encouraging consumers to report it to the Consumer Affairs Commission, and we were investigating because a lot of products went skyrocketed because of COVID
Hmm.
and all of that. So we definitely can intervene when there is price gouging. So we encourage consumers to call the Consumer Affairs and make the complaint.
But is this no? And this is a question in principle. Is there a conflict between the idea of price gouging and the idea of free market? My producer bought Lysol for how much $100 at one stage in
But
COVID.
did you say price gouging and free market? I didn't hear you.
Right. I'm saying, and the question is there a conflict operating between the idea of stopping price gouging while announcing a free market?
Well, listen, free market has been around from when COVID came. Then there was a price gouging, and the minister comes out and said, "Okay, this should not happen." Then the consumer affairs has to get involved. Then the conflict is not always there. Let's put it that way. But we had an outbreak, and everybody needed the different supplies to survive. The government steps in and says, this shouldn't happen.
Mm,
So in essence, consumers should report it.
mm,
But the price gouging is not something that happens every day, and of course would then prove a continuous conflict.
mm.
But we don't have that conflict all the time,
And
because it would really be a conflict between free market and then no, having the
protectionism.
price gouging.
Protection
Yes,
from
yes.
price gouging.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the government came out though we're in a free market to say, this should not happen. We're all trying to survive, and then said, we needed to look out for those entities that were doing the price gouging.
In some jurisdiction though, where you have matters of price gouging, I'm solving my own problem here. But in some jurisdiction, you have the government go into the market itself by finding the same items at a proper price and then interject, because it's a matter of, sometimes it's also a matter of supply and demand. So if the government intervenes in the market in terms
Right.
of, yeah, that could work out. All right. I
Yeah, but
think,
I want.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I just wanted to tell you, I think Jamaicans need to know the Consumer Affairs Commission is merging with the Fair Trading Commission.
That sounds
And
like good.
I think, and hopefully it will happen in short order. But just to say, in terms of, how do I say it? We find out in many areas in our country that there is no checking and ensuring compliance takes place. So, there are a lot of changes the government
That would perhaps take
would do. And so with that, the merger and all of that,
mhm.
right, will,
Okay.
yes.
I'm going to ask you to stay with me for a little bit more. I'm not going to take a break. I just want to go into some other things. You mentioned market survey, meaning that you do some research to find how prices are in relation to, um, relative to the same items in other
Yeah,
areas.
we have our survey officers that go out for the different surveys. We have our survey officers.
hmm And in terms of that market survey now, you spoke about the publication of prices somewhere.
Right.
Could you speak a little bit more to that? Because you, if somebody is operating out of Kingston and somebody is operating out of Montego Bay, what does it say for that survey? How is that survey done so
No,
that it
man. Well,
can
you have survey
benefit
officers
both?
for different parishes. You have survey officers for different
Mhm.
parishes. I don't. Have you ever seen the consumer alert in the Gleaner? Right. Ever seen it? The consumer alert shows will list the supermarkets, for example, for the grocery surveys. It will list the supermarkets that they surveyed, and then you'll see prices in red and prices in green. And naturally, the prices in red are the higher prices. So it gives you an idea what a product, the different prices products are being sold for which entity. Same for petrol, the gas station. Same for hardware. And as I said about the textbook survey we do every July, right? So consumers. In fact, we also have our SMS text messages. You and on our app that you can also, about the Consumer Affairs mobile app, right? That you can download and check prices. Download it on your phone and you
Okay.
check your prices
So
as
there's a
well.
mobile
We
app.
have that, right?
I don't remember, so I'm asking. Does the publication of the survey, is it done on a parish by
Right.
parish basis at the very least?
Parish by parish basis, right? Parish
Okay.
by parish basis. So
Okay.
you will see, like for instance, consumer alert, and you'll see the parishes, whether it's Kingston and St. Andrew, or
Okay. Okay.
right.
All right. This has
So
been
you will see which parish it's coming from, right?
yeah, this has been a very uh informational kind of enlightening kind of a discourse between you and I here with our listeners listening in, and I hope that our listeners would have gained as much as I have gained from this particular interaction. Mrs. Cummins, I want to give you the opportunity to just summarize again in relation to some of the things that some of the knowledge that you've imparted to us. Could you, before we wrap up?
All right. Well, for instance, as I said to you, remember when you buy a product, if it's effective, there's a 3R, letter R process:
Right.
repair,
No, man, you have to
replace,
test me. You
or
have to test
refund.
me. You must ask me.
You know what I
Repair,
have to test
replace,
you.
repair, replace, refund.
All right, what did you learn about warranty, Mr. Wallace?
Warranty? Oh gosh, if it's too short,
Mm-hmm.
send up my antenna. If it's too short, if
Another one, another rule. Give me the other rule of thumb, please.
the other rule of thumb is that
Yes.
warranties are negotiable. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Warrant
Thank
is
you. Thank
negotiable.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will.
Thank you.
Uh, go ahead. Mm.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, just continue to wrap up
If
because
you
my producer was cussing me to intervene when I wanted to be tested this evening. Yeah, she was saying, allow you to
yes,
talk. So continue your, just finish up.
I didn't touch this, but I'll quickly say it. I discourage people from going the higher purchase way. Right? When you buy a product on higher purchase, remember it's almost like you're paying for the product three times. I didn't say it before, but this is something I know so many persons are doing. Now because you go and buy a product and you get, let's say, a year or so to pay it off, you pay a little $4,000. But when you look at the total cost, it's three times what? And if you
Very
are
true.
just save, put away and save, and buy the product cash, why go the higher purchase rate? Why?
Would it be better to borrow from your credit union then?
It depends on what It depends. Sometimes depending on what you're buying and the rate you're buying,
Okay.
your rate you're gonna borrow. That's another issue. So sometimes for just a short term period, you can just buy, save, and buy without incurring any interest or anything. But we're not disciplining ourselves. So there are some things we can do without
It's
for a
a
little
matter
bit.
of discipline. Yeah.
I
Uh,
think so. We can.
my producer is killing me because she's on the clock. But one final question, I'm going to force it. This one, I want
Yeah.
you to tell me again because we have discussed it before. But I want you to talk to our listeners now and our viewers in relation to the question of the word affordability, and all those variations. Speak to us, please.
When we talk about afford, right? When we talk about afford, we need to have enough money or even time for something, right? When we afford having enough money or time for something, right? Or we can
Yes, yes, you're telling us about the affordability situation. Are you there, miss?
provide. So we talk about yes, I'm here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Right, go ahead. You weren't hearing me before?
Yeah, no man, it was about the same affordability and afford.
Right, so we're talking something when you afford, we're talking about having enough money to do something or enough time.
Mm.
But then there's also the other part of it where though we have to prioritize. What you were also talking to me about
Yes.
priority.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about priority, we're talking about the state of being something being more important. So if an education is important to you, that you go and prioritize that, or your child's education too, as was said. So you have to know what is more important, more beneficial at the time.
So
That's
then,
how I would look at it.
so the idea is that if you have a hairdo to pay for, as opposed to something having to do with your education or your child's education, though you
Or your
have
child's health,
health,
you have to prioritize,
right?
or your child's health,
Though
or
you
your
have that
health.
cash, though you have
The
that
ear
cash,
could stay and you go, yeah,
exactly.
the ear could stay and you take care of health first.
All
And education as well. You prioritize and take care of the more important,
right.
right? The
I
more
want
important thing.
I want to thank you for bearing with me for this almost a full hour. You're laughing
Yes,
again.
sir.
You started laughing and you're ending laughing, which is a good thing. Thank you ever so much
Well,
for being with us.
we're here. The Consumer Affairs Commission is a government entity. All our services are free of cost. Use us, use us. We offer advice. If you don't want us to contact the merchant yet, we'll advise you of your rights and responsibilities, right? And if you want us to contact the merchant, then it becomes a formal complaint, and we put it on a government case management system.
Mhm.
So use our services. Use our services. We will advise as well.
I want to thank you again, Mrs. Cummins, and our listeners were actually participating in about the conversation between you and I. I was so taken up, I didn't even see it. So Pauline Williamson said, "Good afternoon, everyone. Blessings." But Thelma Gomez was saying that those persons are really cruel, and I think she's speaking to the merchants. Look how hard the man work to Oh, okay. That's a different issue. But I want to thank you again, and we certainly will call on you again
You
because I
know
don't
what?
think
Before
I'm finished
can
with
I
you.
get a minute? Can I get a minute? I remember a case I dealt with in Trelawney like last week before last. And this is a returning resident who said that she went to purchase water and the supermarket refused to she couldn't use her debit card to purchase water. And she called and complained to the consumer affairs. You tell me. So when I spoke to the cashier, I said, but debit card is considered as cash. I don't walk around with cash. If you choose to
Hmm.
pick me, you're not going to get money from me. But debit card is considered as cash as
Hmm.
opposed to a credit card, and the debit card will not go through if there is no money in the account.
Hmm.
So why would you not accept bottled water
Hmm.
with a card? And then she went back to the store and she was able to use her card to buy the water. The
Because
supermarket rather,
as a matter of fact,
in Trelawney.
that kind of scenario would have run counter to the government's push towards a digital economy.
Exactly.
You
But
know.
even then, even before we wanted to go there because COVID is now pushing us there. But your debit card, why
Hmm.
would you want to refuse my debit card to buy water?
Certainly
People are
crazy.
walking around with money so that somebody can, people are
Yeah.
not, they're walking around with their cards.
That's the damage that ignorance
So,
does.
yeah. So that debit card is like cash. It
Thank
won't go through if there's no money in the account. So
won't.
accept the debit cards, accept them.
Thank you ever again,
Yeah.
ever so much again, Mrs. Suzette Greg Cummings.
Suzette Grigg Cummings,
I
yes.
did say Suzette Greg Cummings. I got it correct this time round because my producer would
Yes,
never
Mr.
have
Wallace.
forgiven me. Thank you,
I
thank you,
hear
thank
you.
you. And I'm sure that
My
we will
pleasure,
call on
my
you
pleasure.
again.
Use our
Yes, yes.
services. You can always ask us for advice. It's free of cost. It doesn't cost you. So
Mhm.
remember, the Consumer Affairs Commission is here for you.
Thank you again. All right, you're
All right.
listening to thank you, ma'am. You're listening to Community Buzz here on Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. We have just concluded a conversation with Mrs. Suzette Grigg Cummings from the Consumer Affairs Commission. She's a regional officer here in I think I could easily call it the Western region. And she just gave us what in some instances what I would call breaking news and a lot of information on top of that. For the time being, we're going to take a little break, a short break, and we will be right back. Thank you for staying with us.
Join Fit FM weeknights at 8 p.m. for News Brief, a compilation of news stories from Trelawney and neighboring parishes provided by credible news sources, with a repeat at 10 a.m. weekday mornings. That's News Brief, weeknights at 8 p.m., with a repeat weekdays at 10 a.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Hi there. I'm Carlene Street, inviting you to join me every Sunday on Fit FM 96.7 for We Lickle But With Talawa, a program highlighting Jamaicans who are making significant contributions abroad and their impact on our communities. That's We Lickle But With Talawa, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. with a repeat on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force is inviting you to its recruitment drive on Saturday, June 19, 2021 at 7:30 a.m. on the grounds of the William Knibb Memorial High School. Visit the website at recruiting@jcf.gov.jm to apply. Please note, do not use a cell phone to complete your application. For further information, contact us at recruitingoffice@jcf.gov.jm or give us a call at 876-838-3589 or WhatsApp at 876-909 9954. The Jamaica Constabulary Force. Rule of law, respect for all, a force for good.
Join the Trelawney Cooperative Credit Union with locations in Water Square, Falmouth, and Albertown for your financial tips on Fit FM 96.7. Let us and TCCU teach you how to reach your financial goals. That's your financial tips on Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Have you ever desired to experience rebirth in your body, mind, and soul? Then join me, your host, Pastor Chadale Smallwood, aka The Poetic Revolution, on Fit FM 96.7 every Tuesday evening at 6 inside Gospel and Soul for Rebirth, where redemption eventually brings into reality total healing. That is Rebirth on Fit FM 96.7 Gospel and Soul. Your life, your music.
Hey, we're back. Things happening in the country, a whole lot of things happening in the country. And we just don't have, I don't know, we are such a news-making country. It's from one thing to another. I want to, there are a whole lot of things that we could consider topical, but kind of tabloidy. Important, though, but tabloidy. I want to take this one first, though, which is a very kind of pet peeve of mine. Do you all remember when we just started with this COVID issue that I started my first set of programs with the question of how we could make a pivot? Mrs. Logan from Falmouth came on. The Chamber of Commerce came on. Dr. The former MP, the great doctor came on. His name was just catching up with me, so his name will come back quickly. But we spoke to quite a few people. We spoke to Natanish Hines. We spoke to SDC Paula. We spoke to a number of people about how we could create that pivot for COVID. Now, part and parcel of the problem at the time was finding finance to jumpstart any new enterprise we would have wanted to get into, any new business. Now, to date, I don't think that we found any. All right? And I noticed last week that the entertainment industry was calling for some COVID relief funds for the entertainment industry and entertainers. I won't say that it's an irrational call. But year in, year out, we hear that small micro businesses, smaller businesses, are actually the economy, the driving force behind the economy. The Chamber of Commerce of Trelawney had a couple of sittings with financial institutions to get, it was not only about COVID, because this endeavor started before COVID, to get a feel as to what was available in terms of loans and credit for businesses and how we could go about it. Now, in the definition of small, medium-sized businesses, I think, ended up with the smaller businesses being defined as turning over $5 million per year. No, me no know no shop or bar what do that. Definitely don't know a shop or bar that does that. So now we hear recently, I hear at least, because sometimes I hear things that you don't hear. You hear things that I don't hear. Recently, I'm hearing about the government again for the umpteenth time pumping money into the Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, for unlending to small and medium sized enterprises. Is so then people have funding. But then I have a friend who is the owner of a bar in St. Catherine, another owner of a bar in Martha Bray, Trelawney. And I have several friends with shops, corner shops, and those kind of stores. And they can't go to DBJ. The value of their business is not worth the paper that a proposal is supposed to be written on, or the application. And I am asking now, if the government is dispersing funds to DBJ for unlending through other banks to SSMEs, is that what they call? Something like that, but small and medium-sized businesses. Why cannot the government do a direct injection of cash into the credit unions to unlend to what I continue to describe as nano businesses? Those very small businesses, the community corner shops, bars, etc. Why cannot the government look at pumping money into the credit union to assist these businesses? Is that an impossibility? The craft traders who used to benefit at the Falmouth Pier, from the Falmouth Pier, small though it was, they were out there every day for a cruise ship to see if they could sell something. No, all that money is gone. What are we doing in terms of looking out for these micro people? I mean, nano people. Is there a possibility, Mr. Minister of Finance, that we can begin to look at such a proposal or proposition? Just throwing that one out. I don't even know that the minister listens to this program, but somebody who may be in the stream of information flow with respect to the minister or the prime minister could perhaps put this up as a question. You see, this DBJ unlending money to people reminds me of a story that I read in First Aid in English, may have been Reader C, while I was at Falmouth All Age School. And the story was about the fox and the stork, where the fox invited the stork over for dinner, but put the milk on flat plates. And so the stork couldn't partake because of that long beak. So the fox was able to eat back up all the dinner for himself. The stork did eventually get the fox, but just leaving it at the fox part of the story. Is that the scenario that we're dealing with DBJ? we're at the end of the day, we're not going to say that money was always in DBJ for small businesses, but small businesses never come and apply for it. When the really, really small businesses can't take up that offer, and we know they can't take it up. We know they cannot take it up. Can we provide another facility? We're not done. We're going to come back to what's in the news. But first, I want to run to COVID-19. All right. For the last 24 hours, we experienced, 32 new cases recorded on Sunday. 32 new cases. We have 48,983 cases in total since February, March of last year. Currently, we have 21,000 active cases. All right. It goes on to give the details of how many men, how many women, and all of that. The number of persons in hospital, which we seem to be managing quite well, is 136 persons in hospital. So we're not dying for bed space in hospitals now with respect to COVID. And persons under government quarantine as we speak, 36,374. This is a kind of good record because last week you would have heard me saying that the DRMA or the ODPM Emergency Act is at a point now of maximum or diminishing returns. We are going to have to find a way to strike a balance so that business can now begin to open up. It's contrary to the narrative out there right now, which is not an unfair narrative, but I don't like to focus on it. Contrary to the narrative that asks, how comes the Negro party and nobody else can keep party? The narrative that I am running with is that the Negro party confirms the need for entertainment to begin to open up. I see the government is now looking into it, but really and truly, the Negril incident was very unfortunate. The question now is, since the government and people in the entertainment industry are looking at it, and by the way, again, let us not forget the nano entertainment businesses. Again, the small bars that keep their round robin and all that kind of thing to make ends meet for the bar owners or shop owners, whoever are involved in that situation. We have to, however, as I'm saying to you, find a way to strike a balance to begin to open up. And the Negro situation is really a situation emphasizing the need and the desperation for finding a way to starting business. Because everybody bank book supposed to run, most people bank book supposed to run a little bit lowish right now. And some of us never have no bank book in the first place. We were hand to mouth. Having said that, there's a question of how are we going to handle the protocols as we try to reopen entertainment if we do. Because we can't run into a situation where we create another spike. Right now, Trinidad and Tobago, I think is still under lockdown. I hear the Prime Minister down there talking about the reopening of the tourist industry. I don't know what kind of balancing act he's doing at this point in time. I don't have the details. Maybe he has modeled something of the Jamaican situation, maybe as a model from somewhere else. But everybody is desperate right now for some earning. How are we going to do it? And if the government is able to allow structured reopening of businesses, are we going to behave in such a way that we don't have we reached third wave yet, Madam Producer? So that we don't have a third wave. We keep hearing of new strains coming out of Europe, England in particular, because after them things said them almost done vaccinate, here comes a new strain again. So the mutation of the virus is cause for concern as we try to go back to whatever we call normal. How are we going to treat with this in terms of our individual responsibilities? That is something for us to ponder before we start ask even the question, outcomes. Moving along, I can tell you that I was quite disappointed by, and let me not say disappointed, let me say befuddled, confused. I really didn't understand it. If you were listening to Community Buzz, or if you're an avid listener to Community Buzz, you would have recalled that one of my arguments was that given the size of a cemetery, the numbers for persons who could go to a funeral seem questionable, for want of a better word. I compared it to the idea of what was happening with weddings, because the wedding number was also much higher than for funerals. Lo and behold, Jamaican woman of stature and substance passed, Mrs. Shaini Robinson. And we saw, if not anything else, we saw how the 9-night worked out. We saw how the election crowds worked out. We saw how nomination day in particular worked out. And for every time, we saw how independence worked out. We saw how some of the various holidays worked out. Because for every time we had those events, stroke holidays, approximately 2 weeks after, we could record a spike. Anyhow, we put in these protocols for weddings, funerals, and church events. This is 1 year later, and lo and behold, comes around. Great Jamaican man passed, Ambassador Johnson. And a service was held for him, which caused people to justifiably ask, how comes? The numbers were over, all of that. How comes? So when the Prime Minister came out and gave his explanation last week, I was a little surprised and befuddled. Because I understand and hold the Prime Minister as very decent and very honest in his administration of this country. That is how I hold him. So I don't know why I cannot understand the explanation for the difference between a funeral service and a memorial service. Because what we're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is crowds, attendees. That's what we're really talking about. So when you come to tell me now that because the coffin is not in the church, because the body is not in the church, because the casket is not in the church, this makes that difference. I tell him, Mr. Prime Minister, I love you, but I don't understand him. I don't understand it. So now I hope that moving forward, there will be a kind of a rollback, especially since we're getting better numbers now. There's a continued backing off of the screws in relation to the DRMA or the ODPM Emergency Act governing COVID. I am looking at, because we can make mistakes. COVID is new. 1 year old, COVID is new. We can, and it's bad. So we can make mistakes in terms of how we handle it here and there. But when we make the mistakes, I could just own up to them now and deal with them. I could just own up to them and deal with them. So right now, whether the body is in the service or not, me personally don't feel say make a difference. It is the numbers that matter. If you share that with me, you can talk to me. If you don't share that with me, you can talk to me. The 2 lines are free now. 876-482-4944. 876-317-1991. Call me, put in your little bit. I'm going to take a short break to look at the company I have now on Facebook and what they have been saying. We expect to hear from you, whether on Facebook or on the WhatsApp chat that we've just given you. All right? We take a break. We'll be right back.
Are you struggling with loneliness? Feeling depressed? Are you searching for a purpose to live? Are you ready to tap into your inner greatness? Ready to soar to your full potential? Come and be inspired. Join me, Dr. Asha Mwendo, on Healing Moment inside Gospel and Soul every Wednesday, 6 p.m., where we will help you to understand your purpose. We will help you to find your wind. We'll show you how to open your wings and fly. Healing Moments, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Tuesday mornings on Fit FM, it's all about worship and praise. Hey, join me, the Reverend Junior Rutti, on Fit FM 96.7, 8:30 a.m. through 10 a.m. for Praise Up Tuesday, your mid-morning experience. Come with me every Tuesday as we send up the praises to our God on this station, Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music.
Y'all got it now. Help us sing it. Every praise.
It's your girl Clover J. Join me weekday morning, 7 to 11, inside Morning Connection, the spot that is jam-packed with features, information, and fun can't done. Come link up, play, and groove to the best music on the planet, right here on Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music.
Come join our party. See
It's the Father's Day sales event at Carib Sales Hardware in Duncan's Trelawney. Get up to 30% off manual and power tools and equipment. Visit Carib Sale Hardware for great Father's Day gift ideas too. Find us in Duncan Square or call us at 876-954-2220. Carib Sales Hardware, your friendly community hardware and gift center.
The Spicy Hill Community Clinic is now in Duncan's. Join Dr. Donaldson and friends on Saturday, June 26, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Stephen James Infant School in Duncan's Trelawney for a community health clinic. Get your doctor checkup, eye screening, pap smear, HIV and syphilis test, blood pressure check, blood sugar check, NHF card application. Donate blood at our blood drive and learn about blood pressure and blood sugar management. Registration fee is only $1,000. This community health clinic is brought to you with the kind support of Trelawney Cooperative Credit Union, Phoenix Health and Vision Care Center, Jamaica Cancer Society, Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, Carib Sales, Duncan's Bakery, Hillside Enterprise, and AJAG Hardware. Fit FM 96.7 will be there to bring live updates throughout the day. All COVID-19 protocols will be observed. So join Dr. Donaldson and friends on Saturday, June 26th for Community Health Clinic from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Stephen James Infant School with live coverage from Fit FM 96.7. Your life, your music.
Oliver's Pharmacy, located at 26 Market Street, Falmouth, is your friendly community pharmacy. Fill your prescriptions, get personal advice, gifts, over-the-counter medicines, cholesterol, blood pressure, and blood sugar tests. Opening hours Mondays to Saturdays 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Telephone 876-617-3779. Oliver's Pharmacy, a proud community partner of Fit FM 96.7.
Yeah, so you come get your tablet. And all when you left and you have to come back. And me know you want to play one of them your laptop. Best of business, a serious business. We sell all electrical appliances. And all of your car accessories. Come a bed stop, you know no problem.
Best Apps Technology, Shop 25, Champion Plaza, Falmouth, Trelawney. Telephone 876-394-5484. Best Apps, we only deliver the best.
In the morning as I rise, put on my tracks with an exercise, me want to fit, me want to fit.
There is never a break from keeping fit and maintaining great health. Join me, Mr. Fitness, weekday mornings at 6:30 a.m. on Fit FM 96.7 as we jumpstart your day with fun aerobics exercises to get your heart pumping and your body moving. Get fit. It's worth it. Fit FM 96.7, Trelawney's Radio, your life, your music.
Yeah, we're back. Fit FM 96.7, your life, your music. Hey, call us. Remember, we've been having a whole lot of topics presented to you, which we can discuss now, right? So 876-482-4944, 876-317-1991. Liebert McBean, big up, my brother and friend from Home and Technical, big up. I see you out there in the heat in New York. I think I'm hearing about some heat, almost heat stroke kind of thing taking place up there. Keep safe, my friend. All right. Melcinda over there in Clarkstown. The credit union is a small people's bank. So you agree. I thank you for your agreement with me, Melson. I thank you, thank you, thank you. Them really if you do something for the poor people, them, man. Them are for us poor people, because they're all the way in the same boat. All right. Once one of we poor, all of we poor now. All right. So no care how much the rest of we rich. All right. If one of we poor, the whole of we poor. Because worse come to worse, we will do bad things to get what the others have. You know? So there's a poverty there. Good afternoon or evening. This is perhaps late evening for Thelma Gomez, but thank you. And yeah, we take the crab argument. Yeah, it's a wicked thing they do to the man with him crab. Get him little publicity off him little niche market, and all of a sudden, some people feel say they must disrespect him, dishonor him, and leave him to die of hunger, him and him children. That can't be right. In that same vicinity, though, just earlier, well, late last week, not even sure which one of the night, Rock District experienced a shooting of a youngster, not dead, but a shooting. And I wonder what is that in aid of. I can't figure out why our people do what they do, inclusive of young people and old people. What motivates this kind of a thing? It appears that robbery was not the motive, because I don't hear that nothing was taken from the person. But what is this? What is this? What is this? The abuse of our children and women continue. And I use the term abuse as opposed to violence against, even though some of them include violence. But the abuse continue. You know? I think it was over in Clarendon. You can't make this thing up. I mean, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. There's this man who dealt with his stepdaughter, impregnate her, and then dealt with his granddaughter. Case just finished at court. I'm not lying. What drives us to this? What is it that drives us to this? Pastor with a 15-year-old down there in the country. What drives us to this? Woman have to be sent off to the US to deal with burns, and our business burnt down. What drives us to this? Why? Woman, and you know, this is another case that I tell you, the woman in Upper Trelawney, Warsop, I think, she was cut so badly, it was said that she was nearly disemboweled. What drives us to this? That case is a special case, though, because the lady ended up saying, "May forgive him." All of this is just, it's not just criminal, but the people who are involved in this, particularly Ben, I am going to go as far as to label these activities as treasonous. Treason. And do you know what the punishment for treason is? It is death. No, me not really say you for dead. Me not really say them for dead. Me not really say that. But what I want to say really, it is treason in the sense that you are betraying the Jamaican society and our ambitions as to what we want to be. We want to be a civilized society. When you do everything to throw us off course, as minute as it seemed to be, notwithstanding the fact that it doesn't have skill in any one event, but every mickle make a muckle, one cocoa full basket, and we are filling the basket of treason. Why are we doing this to our society? Why are we doing this to our society? So the abuse continues. The abuse continues. On top of all of that, it would seem that all of us now have a mental problem. It would seem that all of us are suffering some mental problems. Yeah? I don't understand. Thelma Gomez, I see your comment. The stepfather should be lost in prison. I see it. I see your comment. But where I was now is all of us seem bedeviled with some mental malady. I know the stresses of COVID may have something to do with it. But I also think that our idea of community and our idea of friendship needs to be adjusted. We can't say we have so much people around we and so much friend around we, yet nobody to talk to. Something is wrong. Why are we not able to tell each other our problems? When I tell you my problem, the worst you can do, I go tell somebody else, That's the worst thing you can do. And let me tell you that if you're a confidential person, make sure your friends and family know, say, you're confidential. And if you're a person who have problems and need to talk, make sure you identify who are the best persons to talk about certain things. Because I know everything you can tell this one person about. I know everything you can just confide in a one person. Sometimes you have to move wide. But find somebody to talk to. Find somebody to talk to. It was last week. I think every one of us may have gone through depression and all of that at some point in time for some reason. It was last week that I put out a post on my Facebook page saying that when nobody go to God on the day of the great white throne judgment, and I was addressing my friends, God said to him that you were not loved. Because God is going to ask you, did you know Edward Wallace? And at that point in time, you won't be inclined to lie to God. So you'll say yes. And God will ask you, so why do you lie that nobody loved you? Maybe that's a roundabout way to say it. But all my friends, hear this and hear it clearly, hear it loudly. I love you. I have my own problems, but I'm willing to tarry with you on yours. I am willing to tarry with you on yours. You know, the good thing, when I put out that post, a friend of mine, Keith and Blake, over in New York, spotted it, called me same time and asked, what, my Eddie, all right? Him tell me, say, I joke him when I joke. But when I told him, yes, I'm all right, why do you ask? He said, I joke, man. Pull me, I pull your leg. But I know Keith and is concerned about me. You need to have some friends like that. You need to identify some family like that. And I want to just big up Keith and Blake and to thank him for that call. I wasn't in trouble then, but if I were, you would have been a rock for me at the time. And I want to thank you. But understand, all my friends, I am here for you, and I'm begging for you to be there for each other as well as for me, if and when my time comes. So all of that preamble was to look at two sad losses. I didn't mention them up front or out front within the last 2 weeks or so. For whatever reason, policeman went by himself in his car, took his own life in St. Elizabeth. And if you recall, I have a very close neighbor and friend who earlier before that went, and it is said that he drank Gramophone, took his own life. And believe you me, I was very, very saddened when I heard of the story of Mrs. Thelwell driving off the flat bridge. Where are we for each other? It's not wrap up time yet, but as I ask that question, it takes me right back to God's where question for man. The question of where are you, man? Where are you, Adam? Adam, where art thou? Where are you? Where are you in your head? I, God, know where you are at, but do you know where you are at? I see some people kicking against the pricks with respect to God and spirituality. But I'm going to tell you that God is needed. I only have to look at some mothers in church who come hell or high water, they're going to church for the word. Why? Because it's after getting the word that they feel better, because they have no one to talk to but their God. Man generally don't operate that way. But when we say turn to God, don't believe that it's a cliche. You have to deeply understand that statement or that recommendation. Don't play it lightly, because sometimes only God will have to tell what is happening to us. So the question, man, where are you? Adam, where art thou? Where are you in your mind? Do you know what's happening to you to begin to address it? Do you know the privileges of life as compared to what you call problem? Man, where are you? Do you understand yourself? Sometimes we have to understand that our problems that we consider as needs are really not needs, they're want. It is because we're looking at another man, seeing what he's having and wanting it. And we move towards believing that that is a need. See a man in a nice sneakers. Where you get that? Where you get the Clarks from, daddy? You want a Clarks, you got teeth. Man, oh lordy, where are you? Adam, where art thou? Man has a responsibility for man. So then God moves on and God asks, where is your brother? Cain, where is your brother? I know. We're going about 4 weeks with this theme now. But for me, it cannot become irrelevant. Where is your brother? Where is he in his head? Where is he in his mind? Why are you killing your brother? Why have you killed your brother? Can ask, am I my brother's keeper? Well, I'm ready to say yes, we are our brother's keeper. Because the rule is love thy neighbor as thyself. So we can't expect that we can do bad things to another man. Run go over your man. Go to the killer for put out contract upon him. Bad mind him and thief in crab. After him work so hard for it. We're not asking what you expect your brother to do in a cases like those. Where is he in his head when him find out say you are doing that? Where is your brother? Where is your son? Where's your son in his head? Because your son is a man. Where's your father? Are you contemplating those issues that may affect the men around you? How are you responding to that? Because we will not get a just society until we begin to respond properly to each other. Third weird question. Runaway pastor, hear that question now. Where is your wife? It's just ask of Abraham. Where's your wife? Where's Sarah? Where's your sister? Where's your daughter? Where's your mother? Where are they? And if you treat them like we've been treating them, how do we expect to be treated in return? So right now, what is happening in this very society is that we're actually encouraging the arming of women to save themselves from their men. Is that really where we want our women to be in their heads? Where are they spiritually? We're disappointed, perhaps, and have a whole lot of question as to why the lady in Upper Trelawney would have forgiven that man. Because most of us, including me, not really believe Sam deserve it. Not really believe Sam deserve it. But the question is, and we don't know why the woman did what she did in terms of asking for clemency for that man. But in an ordinary situation, don't we want to treat our women, our daughters, our sisters, our mothers in such a way that they can beg clemency for us if push come to shove? Where are we pushing our women? Where are we setting our women's mindset? Abraham, where is your wife? Man, where is your wife? Where is your sister? Where is your mother? Fourth word question. Woman out at the well was asked, where is your husband? So women, do you know where is your man in his head? Where is him? No, not that, not that. Where is your man in his head? Where's your man spiritually? Julia wanted to ask if the man is at somebody else's house or at the bar. But that too. Because when you ask that question, the next question is, why is he there? You can ask that too. But fundamentally, where is your husband? Where is he in his head? Where is he in his head? Producers have to make a comment. I mean, I really like it still, you know. Yeah, because I could answer it, that particular question, like how God answered Ruth, meaning that there's a Boaz coming. You see, I tell you all the while, you know, Julia, that I use my Bible to answer any question. And any day my Bible fails me, I am done with it, and it will not fail me. I am assured of that. Any question, any problem I can solve with my Bible, that is the only time that I declare my Bible null and void, because it answers a question. Anyhow, back to you, woman. Where's your husband? Where's he in his head? How are you treating him? How are you treating him? Thank you, Reverend Trinity. Thank you. Yeah. How are you treating him? What treatment do you expect from him, given the treatment that you're giving? Where is your husband? Where is your husband? I know I'm close to wrap up time. I want to encourage everybody who might be in depression. And Reverend, since you're here, just remember for prayer, special prayer for those people in depression right now. Things not really easy. And I want to encourage you out there, if you're suffering in any kind of way, Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music, has a number of pastors associated with this station. Call us and we'll find you one. But I can tell you right now that you can find Pastor Roti at Agape Christian Fellowship in Falmouth, 85 Market Street. All right? He has not put out a number, so I don't have a number. But he's a good man to talk to. He's a good man to talk to, a good minister to talk to. Yeah? It is not, you're not alone, you know. If you're in depression, you're really not alone. You're really not alone. And even if you got thief, you never betrayed Jesus Christ, so you have no need for suicide. So if you evil got thief, come make we try work it out. Can't tell you that there will be no prison time. I can't tell you that there will be no prison time. But with life, there are opportunities for redemption. With life, there are opportunities for redemption. I want to at this time. Oh, we got a number from Reverend Roti. 876 405 406, sorry, 5437. Let's go again. 876 406 5437 for Pastor Roti. If you need to talk, touch base with him. We have another colleague who is a doctor of psychology. And even though she charges for service, is not a woman who is not inclined to save lives. So call Dr. Asha too. You can talk. Call Dr. Asha. Me can hold a good reasoning. But these two people offhand, I know, can help you deal with your situations better. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening on Community Buzz, Fit FM 96.7, Your Life, Your Music. I want to just thank you. And we hope that, God willing, we will meet here again next Monday, same time, with the blessings of God still emitting as rays from the sun. Thank you, and good afternoon. We'll be together, God willing, next week. All right, bye.